The Cherry Blossom Festival 2026 thoughts. Before I break this into different segments, I'd like to acknowledge that I missed the last two festivals when committing to cover each of these this year. Well, Irish Fest was happening while I was prepping for my uncle's memorial, which was happening the same weekend as French Fest. And now that we're entering May, there's going to be one of these every week, usually on only the Saturday of that given weekend, and Saturdays are when I've promised to be more available for volunteering. So, yeah, life's been happening. I might not be able to do/release as many of these as I honestly meant to when I promised these at the beginning of the year, which in hindsight seems pretty obvious. Anyway, hoping I get to most of them at the very least. We're looking at a different formatting structure on this one. I was emailing myself pictures and notes, topic by topic, both days. This is a prologue with 6 chapters between it and an epilogue. So let's begin. When I arrived, my first thought was a memory of a photo exhibit held at a previous Cherry Blossom Festival, in a building I could no longer find. I also tried looking for the skateboard ramps that were there for so many years. This was my first time this year actually doing a lap around the entire premises. Going by the amount of changes, I've been away a while. I probably need to come up here more often for more kinds of events. Cherry Blossom 2026 Tea Ceremony Demonstration. Before I get into this section, I'd like to point out a lesson I had reiterated on this day. Always use the bathroom before trying to find a seat. Even if I don't have to use it, find and try one as soon as I arrive. I found my seat, then had to go. Then a family was sitting there, and they were not moving. Found me a nice space next to 2 young ladies, and found nothing more to say to them after the ceremony was over. I caught photos, but I didn't get any audio or written notes, had to position the camera phone with one hand. I've been to these before, so it probably didn't occur to me, and I didn't want to run the microphone the entire time, drains the battery, takes up memory. So I opted to throw in a top 3 list of notes on the process. 1. The first thing you consume in the ceremony is sweets, to offset the more bitter flavor of the matcha later. 2. The most significant thing that stuck out to me this time was the detail that before battle different leaders would come together for discussion, and watching it get made in real time would assure all players involved that no one involved would be poisoning the rest. I think this might be the first time I heard this facet. 3. And the last was the demonstration stage they displayed. I'd been told that the entryway to the tea ceremony's hut was supposed to be lower than other doorways so that whoever entered would bow to enter. Didn't seem relevant to this year's presentation, though. Seattle Go. Every year that I come to these Cherry Blossom Festivals, I swing by the Go tables. I used to play online, really not that recently. So I made a couple critical mistakes regarding identifying territory and prisoners, and ended up tying with someone who had never played before. I've never watched Hikaru no Go outside of one promo episode on a free DVD. But I started reading the original manga in Shonen Jump during high school, and read it start to finish there. There was an MSN.com free gaming with Go available during this time, but it didn't last. And since then, I'd only occasionally dabbled in it during Cherry Blossom festivals like this. There's a fellow from Seattle radio who I used to see there over and over. I realized after I left that I didn't see him here this year. How long have I been away? Fountain. Was moving in different combination formations. Seemed programmed. Parts of it just kept climbing. But I never really found time to crack the pattern. So I didn't get that second chance to show you just how high I saw it get. But for now, here's the highest I got.
Waiting for them to come up the stairs. We've been expecting you.
but there will be other events here later. Maybe then I'll be lined up for the highest it can reach. This is the section of the written article, found on my WordPress, that I feel works best as a written piece, much more than as audio for a bunch of photos. I also cut out the Godzilla section. A couple things happened relevant to that I thought made for funny asides, including me spotting a potential cultural blunder in an upcoming writing project. Just wanted to avoid a potential blunder big enough. Actually, see, I advance for once. Did learn some communication lessons, though. Chief among them, when describing something the other person might not have heard of before, emphasize the presence of telepathic tentacle aliens voiced by Ron Perlman. Generally seem to earn grins. Yeah, look up Cyberzilla's relevance on my WordPress. So, been a while since I reviewed a meal at one of these. But about 2 exact months before this festival, I remarked that the food stands in food trucks that were at Tet New Year would be there for the rest of the festivals this year. Well, that's what I distinctly remember being told. I know. I'm disappointed I didn't bring enough of my own snacks too. And I'm disappointed that I didn't find the culturally relevant food truck while the buying was good. Dine out is crazy expensive these days. On top of the price, $21.64 after taxes, let's get into the experience. I went to find the pagoda with the ball in it that I've used as backdrop and setting before, only to find there was a man sleeping there. I got it the next time. Ramen is something in a traditional form that I know primarily from Naruto. I think that the ramen packets I grew up on had a much smoother broth. I couldn't feel any particulate. I don't know if that means I was missing out or this bowl was just too much on that level. Very rich umami flavor, like mushrooms and anchovies. Definitely that flavor type. The spiral absorbed fluid very quickly and left no impression, as I don't recall being able to taste it at all. The onion greens did have some pop against the broth, but their flavors were so similar that they subtly complemented each other. You could feel they were all there, but that was partially because you could feel somewhat still that they were there. The seaweed, though, probably one reason for that flavor. Seaweed is a rather rich umami flavor, but a bit more salt. Obviously, that last part wouldn't have spread through this. I do not know what those rectangular stripes were. And the thickness and consistency of the noodles left no lasting impression. In a stronger economy, when I had to part with fewer dollars for this, I probably would have enjoyed it more. And I definitely would have recommended it more. I don't know if it's because I need sweet things or spicy things or salty things too much, but for how balanced this was, it went too far in a whole other direction for me to really enjoy it. Let's see what I get next time. The ingredients were held separate, which I appreciated. It's a lot like pho that way. They had only one variety, and it was sold in only one size and one price. If I wanted to jack stuff up even more, I could have added a drink. Thankfully, I brought some of my own, and I could focus just on reviewing this. Epilogue. No one's been asking me for anything specific from these event coverages. No one's been looking ahead at event schedules and asking me for anything at all. I've been going through these and thinking my way through as I go. I look ahead at what's when, sometimes try to figure out where it is if they're using a place that's normally closed. I wonder who would like to know more about the construction project right next door. But if you're looking for anything about the goings-on at the Pacific Science Center, you're going to have to cover my ticket. Just getting a single lunch at one of these things covers nearly a literal 1/3 of my monthly entertainment budget. As it is, I will be incorporating feedback into my pending attempts, but first I have to have feedback. Have a nice day, and a lovely May 2nd. Who knows how I'm going to do any of these weekly written/bi-weekly video commitments. We'll say that if I haven't finished one, I won't get to the next. And the next was on Free Comic Book Day.